Are you just totally exhausted by the modern hustle? Does it feel like no matter how much willpower you literally squeeze out of yourself, life's unpredictability always finds a way to throw you off course? Trust me, you are definitely not alone. Let's jump right into this explainer because we're unpacking something genuinely fascinating today. We're looking at a framework that takes the cold, calculated logic of systems engineering and merges it flawlessly with ancient Taoist philosophy. The goal? To completely solve the chaos of everyday life. It's called the Chang-Yan life system.
Now, I want you to really think about this for a second. What if navigating your life required absolutely zero willpower? I mean, it sounds basically impossible, right? We are so deeply conditioned to believe that success and stability require this constant, exhausting uphill struggle. But the source material we're exploring today challenges that idea head-on. It actually suggests that our reliance on sheer effort, white-knuckling our way through life, is actually a symptom of a structural failure. Think about the contrast here. Most of us are stuck relying on forced control, the everyday hustle, burning willpower like it's rocket fuel, which inevitably just leads to burnout. But the alternative is what's called unintentional perfection. Think about planetary orbits for a minute. The Earth doesn't wake up every morning and use willpower to orbit the sun, right? It just relies on structural alignment. The ancient Taoists actually called this wu wei. It translates to non-action, but it doesn't mean doing nothing. It means acting completely without friction. It's a lot like Einstein's concept of space-time geometry. That geometry creates a natural groove that keeps the Earth perfectly stable without any effort at all. Well, a human life can be designed with its own orbit too. By setting up low-cost, hard-coded boundaries, things like incredibly stable expenses or long-term investments, you're essentially creating a gravitational orbit for yourself. You completely remove the need for forced control. When your knowledge and your actions are operating within these carefully designed boundaries, your life naturally settles into a self-stabilizing state. And that brings us right to CYSM, the Chang-Yan life system. You can think of it almost like an open-source operating system, but built specifically for your life. It was developed by a Singaporean engineering technician who spent literally 60 years treating his own life as this grand, ongoing experiment. Instead of looking at life as just a series of random fates or lucky breaks, CYSM applies strict engineering logic. Its entire purpose is to filter out the relentless noise of the world and perfectly align what you know you should do with what you actually do, driving the friction between them down to absolute zero.
Section 1. The formula for certainty. Extracting pure signal from universal noise. This equation right here is really the beating heart of the author's work. Certainty is a function of signal strength and processing time. In life, we all get hit with random events, but this framework argues that if you can capture a meaningful signal, say a gut intuition, a new skill, or deep interest, and you give it enough processing time, those random, chaotic events will naturally converge into a highly predictable structure. Time and meaning actually reinforce each other. It's incredible to see how this process transforms raw life events, or what we're calling signals. Most people just react to these things as they happen and then move on. But if you apply processing time, which really means actively observing and adapting, patterns start to emerge. That's signal convergence. If you give it even more time, it solidifies into structured stability. This exact transformation is how pure engineering logic can take the complete randomness of life and turn it into actual sustainable autonomy. Now, the author didn't just sit around and theorize about this. He lived it out through a relentless 40-year engineering training cycle. Step 1 was long-term recording, meticulously documenting his own life data. Step 2 was investment practice, which meant testing his theories against the unforgiving real-world reality of the financial markets. Step 3 was this dedicated 6-month period of retirement reflection, literally clearing the cache of his old life. And finally, Step 4 was synthesizing all of that gathered data into one cohesive, rock-solid system. Section 2, Initial Conditions and Evolution. A 60-year case study of structural alignment. Let's trace the author's actual 60-year trajectory. He was born in 1966 in a newly independent, highly uncertain Singapore and was given the birth name Kokpeng. In 1989, a seed of engineering thinking was planted when he was at the Institute of Technical Education. Fast forward a bit to 1999, and his eagerness for quick results actually caused his personal system to completely crash. But he learned from it, he adapted, and decades later in 2024, he recognized a massive signal in generative AI. Finally, this whole journey culminates in 2026, marking his 60th year and the formalization of CYSM under a brand new name.
Watching this name evolution is actually profound when you think about identity. His birth name, Cook Peng, means national peace in Hokkien, which was basically a mother's wish for survival and stability during a very uncertain era. That was the system's initial condition. But after 60 years of experiencing, learning, and constantly calibrating, he chose the name Lin Kong Yen. That translates to the vision of a vast swallow, symbolizing gliding lightly through systems without being weighed down by society's gravity. It shows that the true identity of a system isn't determined by where it starts, but by its long-term convergence. Section 3. Defending against universal noise. Building practical resilience layers. The reality is, we just have to accept that uncertainty is a universal constant. Just look at this comparison. The Earth system constantly faces solar radiation variability, asteroid impact, and cosmic radiation, while your life system faces market fluctuations, sudden health crises, and unexpected career disruptions. Both planets and humans are constantly being shaped by unpredictable forces. You literally cannot stop the noise of the universe.
So, what do you do about it? You build layered defenses. To sustain that perfect orbit we talked about, you absolutely need buffers, things like emergency funds, keeping low debt, and having secure housing. These act as shock absorbers against sudden impacts. And you also need resilience layers, adaptive health, continuous skill development, and immense mental fortitude. These are the practical tools that allow you to prepare for shocks and adapt to change without your entire life system just spinning completely out of control.
In real life, a stability mechanism looks exactly like this. To defend against financial anxiety, the author intentionally locked in an extremely low-energy lifestyle of just 667 Singapore dollars a month, completely backed by a fully paid-off apartment. That setup acts as an impenetrable financial shield against cosmic noise. By radically lowering his system's energy consumption, he essentially made himself immune to external market panic. I want you to really absorb this specific quote from the text. Effortlessness is not laziness. It is the highest form of stability. That is such a fascinating way to rethink how we live our lives. When your life system is properly engineered, when your buffers are securely in place and your signals are perfectly aligned, things just run smoothly. It might look effortless from the outside, but it's actually the result of incredible, deliberate structural design. So I'm going to leave you with this to think about. What faint, high-value initial signals in your own life are just waiting for you to process them into certainty? Look really closely at those recurring interests, those tiny sparks of intuition you get. If you apply time, observation, and a bit of structure to them, they might just become the foundation of your own perfect, effortless orbit. Thank you for joining me for this explainer, and I highly encourage you to start observing the systems in your own life today.